The worry doesn't match the number. That's the thing nobody says about money anxiety, that the amount in the account and the amount of worry don't move together the way you'd expect them to. You've had months where the balance was low and you were fine, and months where the balance was higher than it's been in years, and you still checked it every other day. Still felt the familiar tightening when an unexpected bill arrived. Still lay awake occasionally doing the mental accounting that never quite resolves. The worry isn't primarily about scarcity, it's about something else, about the relationship with money itself, the fundamental uncertainty about whether there will ever be enough, about the background sense that the financial ground you're standing on is less solid than it appears. This feeling doesn't go away when the number goes up. It adjusts slightly and continues. It has been there, in some form, for as long as you can remember having any money to worry about. The advice the personal finance industry gives for this kind of worry is budget better, earn more, invest wisely, build an emergency fund. All of it is correct in the abstract. None of it addresses the worry directly, because the worry isn't a mathematical problem. It isn't caused by a number being too low. It is caused by a relationship with money that no number can secure, because the relationship was never built on a foundation that numbers could provide. Here's what Japan understands about money that Western personal finance culture almost never addresses. The people who stop worrying about money are not primarily the people who have the most of it. They are the people who have developed a specific, stable, practiced relationship with it, a set of skills, habits of mind and behavior that makes the relationship with money secure regardless of the current balance. 7 skills, each one Japanese in origin. Together, they don't guarantee financial abundance. They guarantee something more reliable and more immediately available. A relationship with money stable enough that the chronic worry stops being the background condition of your financial life. The Japanese word at the center of this video is Anshin, peace of mind, the specific settled quality of a life in which worry is not the default background state. Anshin around money is not the absence of financial challenge. It is the presence of a relationship with money stable enough to face challenge without being destabilized by it. The person with Anshin doesn't worry less because their balance is higher. They worry less because their relationship with money is built on a foundation that doesn't shift with the balance, a foundation of specific, practice skills that produce clarity, intentionality, and genuine confidence in their own financial behavior, regardless of the current number. 7 skills, each one buildable starting today. Together, they don't change the number, they change the relationship, and it is the relationship, not the number, that determines whether the worry runs. Skill 1. Make money visible. The most consistent source of financial anxiety is not insufficient income, it is insufficient awareness, the specific, pervasive uncertainty about where the money is going that makes the number in the account feel unreliable regardless of its size. Kakeibo, the Japanese household ledger, practiced as a brief, handwritten, daily or weekly awareness ritual, is the foundational financial skill precisely because it addresses this uncertainty directly. Not by creating a comprehensive budget that tracks every transaction automatically in the background, by creating a brief, felt, conscious engagement with the financial reality of the current week. The Kakeibo practice is specific. At the start of each month, write down the month's income, fixed expenses, and a savings goal. Each week, write down what was actually spent, in 3 or 4 handwritten lines. At the end of the month, answer 4 questions. How much did I have? How much did I spend? How much did I save? What can I improve? The handwriting is not optional. It is the mechanism. Digital tracking removes felt awareness from spending. The transaction is recorded, but not experienced. Writing the number by hand in a physical notebook forces a brief, genuine, embodied engagement with the financial reality. The number becomes real. The spending becomes visible. And visibility, it turns out, changes behavior more reliably than any automated tracking system ever designed. The money worry that comes from not quite knowing where the money is going dissolves when the money's movements become genuinely visible, not controlled, visible. The Kakeibo doesn't tell you what to spend. It tells you what you spent, which turns out to be most of what you needed to know. The takeaway: get a small notebook. Write this month's income at the top. Write your fixed expenses below it. Write a savings goal. Each Sunday, write what you spent in 4 lines. 4 weeks of this changes the relationship with money more fundamentally than any budgeting app currently available. Skill 2. Pause before every purchase. The second skill addresses the specific mechanism behind most regretted spending. The absence of a pause between the impulse and the transaction. Me. Intentional empty space, applied to purchasing, is the practice of inserting a deliberate pause between the desire to spend and the act of spending. Not a waiting period imposed as a rule, a genuine, brief, internal pause that asks one specific question. Is this intentional? Not, can I afford this? That question can be answered and still produce spending that is regretted. Not, do I need this? That question produces guilt rather than clarity. The may question is simpler and more useful. Is this something I am choosing to spend on, or something I am spending on because the impulse arrived and I didn't pause? The distinction between chosen and impulsive spending is the most reliable predictor of post-purchase satisfaction available in behavioral finance research. Money spent on things chosen in advance produces satisfaction. Money spent on things purchased at the point of impulse, without a pause for genuine consideration, produces the specific regret that becomes part of the money worry. The occasional mental accounting of, where did the money go, that has no satisfying answer because the answer is impulse spending that wasn't noticed at the time. The pause is brief. 3 to 5 seconds before any non-trivial purchase, online or in person. The question, is this intentional? If the answer is yes, the purchase is made with genuine satisfaction rather than automatic spending. If the answer is no, the impulse is visible enough to be evaluated rather than simply executed. The takeaway, for 1 week, pause for 3 to 5 seconds before every purchase that isn't a planned essential. Ask one question, is this intentional? Notice how many purchases become more conscious, not fewer, just more deliberate, and whether the relationship with what is spent changes. Skill 3. Find beauty in enough. Kanshuku. Deliberate frugality, the Japanese concept of restraint as an aesthetic rather than a deprivation, is the skill that most directly addresses the appetite side of money worry. The specific, often unconscious assumption that more spending produces more satisfaction, that the next purchase will finally produce the sufficiency that the last purchase didn't quite achieve. This assumption is not irrational. It is the natural output of a consumer culture built on the systematic manufacturing of dissatisfaction, on the production of the felt experience that what is currently owned is slightly insufficient and that the next acquisition will complete it. The result is an appetite that cannot be satisfied because it is not caused by genuine need. It is caused by a designed relationship with consumption that requires continuous feeding. Kanshuku is the practiced ability to experience the current sufficiency as genuinely sufficient, not as resignation, not as the making do of someone who cannot afford more. As an aesthetic position, the recognition that a life of enough, fully inhabited, is a more genuinely satisfying experience than a life of more, perpetually insufficient. The Japanese tradition of mono no aware, the bittersweet beauty of things as they are, applied to material life produces this specifically, the capacity to find the particular, present beauty of current circumstances, rather than constantly orienting toward what is not yet owned. The current meal is this specific meal, not the better meal that the next restaurant might provide. The current home is this home, not the home that a different income level might produce. The skill of Kanshuku is built through deliberate practice. For 1 week, notice one thing per day that is already owned and genuinely appreciated, that would be missed if it were gone. That provides genuine satisfaction as it is. The practice of noticing current sufficiency gradually builds the capacity to experience it as genuinely sufficient rather than as a temporary station on the way to more. The takeaway. Today, identify one thing you currently own that you would genuinely miss if it were gone. Spend 5 minutes with the specific, present quality of that thing. This is not gratitude practice as performed positivity. It is the beginning of a genuine capacity for sufficiency, the foundation on which the money worry cannot stand. Skill 4. Waste nothing. Mottainai, the Japanese concept of regret over waste, the deep cultural discomfort with discarding something that still has value, is the financial skill that produces the most immediate measurable impact on actual spending. The habit of fully using what is already owned before acquiring anything new. The Mottainai framing applied to personal finance inverts the default Western relationship with objects. Instead of possessions being used until they are replaced by something newer, they are used until they are genuinely finished. The vegetable at the back of the refrigerator is used before new vegetables are bought. The clothing in the closet is worn before anything new is purchased. The tool on the shelf is repaired before it is replaced. This is not deprivation. It is a different relationship with what is owned. A relationship that treats each possession as something that is given value and deserves to give its full value before being discarded, rather than as a placeholder for the next acquisition. The financial effect of a genuine Mottainai practice is substantial and measurable. The things that would have been replaced before they were finished: food, clothing, household goods, subscriptions, digital products, remain in service until their natural end, which significantly reduces the replacement purchasing that constitutes a larger portion of most household spending than most people realize until they begin to track it. The takeaway: before any replacement purchase this week, a new piece of clothing, a new food item, a subscription service, ask the Mottainai question: has what I currently have given its full value yet? If the answer is no, delay the replacement until it has. Notice what this single question does to replacement spending across 1 week. Skill 5. Work that pays and matters. Ikigai no Shigoto, work aligned with genuine purpose, is the income-side skill that the personal finance industry consistently underemphasizes in favor of budget-side optimization. The recognition that income from work that is intrinsically meaningful produces a fundamentally different financial psychology than income from work that is merely sufficient. This is not the do what you love and the money will follow oversimplification. It is a more specific, more practical observation. The person doing genuinely meaningful work is more likely to develop the specific expertise and reputation that commands higher income over time, more likely to sustain the effort and improvement that produces advancement, and more likely to experience the work itself as a source of satisfaction that reduces the compensatory spending that financially unsatisfying work typically produces. The Japanese concept of shokin, the master craftsperson, models this relationship. The shokin does not separate their financial life from their working life. The quality of the work produces the financial outcome over time. The commitment to the craft produces the expertise that commands the income. The meaning of the work reduces the need for compensatory consumption. The practical application of Ikigai no Shigoto is not a dramatic career change. It is a deliberate, ongoing inquiry into what aspects of current work are genuinely engaging, what skills are being built that have genuine market value, and what 1% daily improvement in the quality of the work might produce over months and years in terms of both income and satisfaction. The takeaway: identify one specific aspect of your current work, or work you could do, that you find genuinely engaging rather than merely tolerable. Invest 15 minutes per day in developing that specific aspect. Notice what the quality of the work produces over 30 days in terms of both skill and the financial relationship with the work itself. Skill 6. Improve your financial habits 1% daily. Kaizen applied to financial behavior is the practice that makes the other 5 skills sustainable. The daily commitment to one specific, small, measurable improvement in one financial behavior, practiced consistently enough to compound into something substantially different over months. Not a complete financial overhaul, not a new budget system. One specific behavior, improved by 1% today. The Kakeibo entry done 1 day more consistently than last week. The pause applied to 1 more purchase category. The Mottainai practice extended to 1 more area of the household. 1% every day. The accumulation doing the work that motivation and dramatic intention cannot sustain. The specific Kaizen that produces the most significant financial anxiety reduction over time is the daily consistency of the awareness practice. The Kakeibo entry, the pause, the Mottainai check, applied without requiring perfect conditions or optimal mood. The financial habit that runs on good days and difficult ones alike is the habit that produces the stable financial relationship that good days alone cannot build. The Kaizen financial practitioner does not announce their improvements. They do not track their progress publicly or share their savings goals on social media. They simply make the small daily improvement, let the accumulation run, and notice after 30 days that the relationship with money is measurably different from what it was at the start. The takeaway: identify one specific financial behavior that you want to improve. Make it 1% better today. Not 10%, 1%. The smallest possible improvement that is still genuinely an improvement. Tomorrow, make it 1% better again. In 30 days, the accumulation will be visible. Skill 7. Community financial wisdom. The final skill is the one that makes the other 6 sustainable across the timescale at which they produce their deepest effects. The deliberate cultivation of a small community of financial honesty, people with whom genuine financial reality can be discussed without performance, from whom honest financial wisdom can be received without shame. Anshin no Kyodotai, the community of peace of mind, is the Japanese social practice in which financial stress is not carried in isolation. The traditional Japanese neighborhood economic practices, the Tanomoschi Rotating Savings Club, the Moai's Financial Mutual Support, the communal management of village resources, all share a common principle. Financial anxiety is reduced not primarily by individual skill, but by the specific, felt security of knowing that the financial ground is shared. The Western default treats financial reality as deeply private, not to be discussed honestly with friends, family, or community. This privacy produces a specific isolation. The money worry is carried alone, which amplifies it, because the alone carrying produces the specific additional anxiety of not knowing whether one's own financial situation is normal, shameful, or catastrophic relative to others. The Anshin community doesn't need to be formal or structured. It needs only to be a relationship with one or two people in which financial reality can be discussed honestly, in which genuine financial wisdom can be shared, and in which the specific comfort of knowing that the financial ground is not uniquely one's own burden provides the community anchor that individual skill alone cannot supply. The takeaway: identify one person in your life with whom you could have a genuinely honest conversation about money, not to compare or compete, but to share the actual financial reality and receive the actual financial wisdom of someone who knows their own ground. That conversation, had honestly, does more for the chronic money worry than any additional financial product currently available. The worry doesn't match the number. It never did. The number goes up and the worry adjusts and continues. The number goes down and the worry confirms its worst expectations. The relationship with money that produces the chronic anxiety is not fixed by changes to the number, it is fixed by changes to the relationship itself, which is what the 7 skills address. Kakeibo makes the money visible. Me makes the spending intentional. Kanshuku makes enough genuinely sufficient. Mottainai makes what is owned give its full value. Ikigai no Shigoto makes the income meaningful. Kaizen makes the improvement sustainable. Anshin no Kyodotai makes the ground shared. None of these guarantee a specific number. All of them guarantee something more immediately available and more permanently useful. A relationship with money stable enough that the worry stops running in the background as the default condition of your financial life. Anshin. Not abundance, peace of mind. The specific, settled quality of a financial life that is genuinely inhabited rather than perpetually worried about. That is what the 7 skills build, and it is available starting today, regardless of the current number. If this felt like something your relationship with money needed to hear, there's more waiting for you here.